Hi, my name is John Dearborn. I am a very old friend of John Pearse. Happy birthday, John. I am grateful to Sid Bosch and Jim McClintock for the opportunity to wish you well and have a small part in this symposium in your honor. In the year 532, an obscure monk named Dionysius Exiguus devised a system of dating events, beginning with the year he believed Christ was born. Thus the Christian world refers to years before Christ as BC, and years after Christ as AD, the abbreviation for Anno Domini, or in the year of our Lord. However, biologists interested in reproductive strategies know there is another important dating system. The initials BP and AP do not stand for British Petroleum and Associated Press. They do, of course, refer to before Pearse and after Pearse. This presentation largely reflects the BP time frame. With the publication in 1965 of John's Ph.D. thesis on Odontaster and his subsequent contributions, we entered a new era in our understanding of reproductive strategies in marine invertebrates, especially the brood versus broadcast controversy. AP had arrived. Oh, and by the way, I learned early on that large Antarctic Nemerteans love hot dogs. Donald Curley Wolschlag at Stanford received NSF support in 1958 for the first intensive U.S. effort in marine biological research in Antarctica. Hugh DeWitt, John Pearse, Jack Littlepage, and I were all part of that early program. In 1958 and early 1959, Hugh DeWitt and I began collecting bottom samples, starting in shallow water at the ice foot at McMurdo Station in the southern Ross Sea. In those days, vehicle transport was scarce, and we usually carried our equipment to various collecting sites. Hugh DeWitt and I set lots of traps in leads in the ice. Fortunately, a few of those leads stayed open long enough to retrieve the gear. Triangular dredges were nearly foolproof because it did not matter which way they hit the bottom. They collected some of our first large sponges, but were really tough to pull by hand. Supply ships and icebreakers were a welcome sight, but getting on or off them on a swinging rope ladder left much to be desired, unless you were Spider-Man. When the ice retreated, I was able to set different sorts of gear in Winter Quarters Bay. Small beam trawls had to be hauled in by 2 or 3 people. At that time, we had no appropriate vehicles for the task. Traps caught lots of fish and 3 common invertebrates, including the infamous Pearse, Odontaster validus, or, if you are a purist, Odontaster validus. That first year, we killed a few Weddell seals for dog food, bait for our traps, and anatomical and dietary studies. No parts went to waste. Even when a sled dog died, it was put to good use. Note that I had only slightly more hair in those days. We dug lots of holes in the ice. The problem, of course, was keeping them open. We tried a large fish trap, but pulling in the monstrosity by hand from 300 feet was a ridiculous strain on our arms and back. That's Mount Erebus, an active volcano in the background. The kind Navy folks gave us shape charges to blow holes in the ice. None of us knew anything about such explosives as this shot illustrates. We got a bit carried away. The explosive debris created a large black body all around the hole. It, of course, absorbed the 24-hour sunlight and rapidly melted the surface of the ice, creating a small lake. The hole had to be abandoned. In 1910, Robert Falcon Scott and his party hauled sleds to get to Cape Evans. Jack Littlepage and I, and later John Pearse, arrived by helicopter. The days of heroic exploration were over. Here are Jack and I in our trailer, again lifted in by helicopter. Our lab bench and kitchen were in the top packing crates. We slept in the bottom crates. Rubber boats are great, but they are not icebreakers. Here at Cape Evans, if the rope to shore breaks, one gets rather quickly blown north to New Zealand. A few traps were set just off the ice foot in late fall, but catches were slim. During the winter of 1959, my solitary collecting required the trap contents to be placed immediately in a bucket of seawater and then put in a heated vehicle before the entire mess froze solid. Every individual critter obtained was, for me at that time, a precious gift from Gaia. Midwinter Day, June 22, 1959, required a special party. The occasion was highlighted by Navy CB Al Els in drag, complete with his 40D cups, cigar, and kerchief. This insulated hole liner, with a heated shack built over the hole, allowed all of us to work in relative comfort during the winter of 1961. Our prefabricated fish hut was shipped from California, complete with a pre-cut hole in the floor. Here is the completed hut in midwinter 1961. At that point, we even had vehicles to drive to it. Jack Littlepage checking the winch cable. Oh yes, we did remember to vent the exhaust from the winch to the outside. Is that a look of anticipation? Or is it just a blank stare on John's face? The three of us really had it rough in our personal quarters at the base. Here Jack Littlepage illustrates the quality time we spent in bed. Ah, this polar field work is really tough. We all designed a special urinal for winter use. Note the excellent location of the name Pearse. Midwinter's Day, a group of idiots went for a swim in our ice hole. A contest developed to see who could stay in the longest. Jack, John, and I did not win. There is much more to this story, but not for a polite audience. Here is the group of nuts who, at the time, were all several tacos short of a combo plate. The Stanford contingent are identified for you. John Pearse became famous despite this episode. John Pearse hard at work in the lab. Reproductive biology would never be the same. And here he is again, this time dismembering one of his sea stars. Ah, the mad doctor syndrome. Colleague Jack Littlepage, photographing zooplankton. So far, we have concentrated on people. For the final few slides, let's look at some of the invertebrates that made all our efforts so interesting, at least to us. Typical zooplankton from McMurdo Sound. The relationships between active forms and moribund individuals and the benthos are complex. Either way, many echinoderms benefit. For the next group of slides, there is no audio. They represent examples of the incredibly interesting beasts which continue to fascinate biologists like John Pearse and me. Acknowledgements are always important. For this presentation, they are absolutely vital. I am a technological idiot, and none of this would have been possible without the incredible kindness, assistance, and patience of three real computer gurus. Malcolm Schick is, for my money, the best damn invertebrate comparative physiologist around, and helped me through the PowerPoint. Malcolm also sends his best wishes on this occasion. Kelly Edwards is the can-do-everything type, who is one of my ex-graduate students and is presently a laboratory technician extraordinaire in the electron microscopy laboratory at the University of Maine. Lancy Wheaton is the facilities manager at the Dirigo Pines retirement home where we now live. She is masterful at the computer and has an incredible tolerance for my stupidity. I truly owe all three of these terrific folks a huge debt of gratitude. Thank you all for listening. John, it is a great honor to be one of your friends. As long as I am on the right side of the grass, I will never forget our days together on the ice and your superb contributions to marine biology. May your future hold good health, continued productivity, and happiness.